Real revenge stories.
They created the monster in a city where success was worshipped and failure was forgotten. There lived a man named Ethan Cole. He wasn't born into wealth. He didn't have powerful connections, but he had something far more dangerous, an obsession with becoming unstoppable. Ethan worked harder than anyone around him. While others partied, he studied markets. While others slept, he built ideas. People laughed at him. "Relax, man. You're trying too hard. You'll burn out before you make it." But Ethan never argued. He never explained himself. He just kept working. Years later, his opportunity finally arrived. Ethan co-founded a startup with two close partners, Ryan Blake and Marcus Reed. They called themselves brothers. They built everything together. Late nights, endless sacrifices, relentless ambition. The company started growing fast. Investors came in, money started flowing, and that's when everything changed. Success didn't reveal their strength, it exposed their weakness. Ryan and Marcus became greedy. They saw Ethan not as a partner, but as a threat. He was the brain, the vision, the one people respected the most, and that made them insecure. So they made a plan. One quiet evening, they invited Ethan to a meeting, just some paperwork. They said casually. Ethan trusted them. Without hesitation, he signed. That moment destroyed everything. Within days, he realized the truth. They had rewritten ownership, moved the shares, manipulated the legal structure. Everything was gone. The company, the control, the future he built, all stolen. When Ethan confronted them, they didn't deny it. They smirked. "You were never the leader, just the worker. We outplayed you." Something inside Ethan cracked. Not loudly, not dramatically, but deeply. That night, he sat alone in his empty apartment. No money, no allies, no direction, just silence and betrayal. For the first time in years, he questioned himself. Was I really that naive? His hands trembled. His chest felt heavy. But then, he stood up, walked to the mirror, and stared at his reflection. For a long time, he said nothing. Then finally, he whispered, "You didn't lose. You learned." Something shifted. The pain didn't disappear. It transformed into focus, into discipline, into something cold and dangerous. Ethan made a decision that night. He wouldn't chase revenge. He wouldn't waste energy on anger. He would build something so powerful that their betrayal would look small in comparison. The next day, he disappeared. No social media, no announcements, no noise, just work. Relentless, silent work. He studied everything: psychology, negotiation, market trends, human behavior. He rebuilt himself from the ground up. Stronger, sharper, unpredictable. People forgot about him. They assumed he was finished, but they didn't understand one thing. He wasn't rebuilding his life. He was rebuilding something they could never defeat. Months turned into a year, then another. And somewhere in the silence, a storm was forming. And when it arrived, it wouldn't ask for permission. The room was silent. Ethan stood there, face to face with the people who once broke him. But this time, he wasn't the same boy. He wasn't weak. He wasn't invisible. He was the storm they created. Jason tried to speak, but his voice trembled. "Ethan, I didn't expect." Ethan raised his hand. "Don't." One word. Cold. Sharp. The entire room froze. Ethan slowly walked toward the center of the stage, his eyes scanning every face. "I remember everything," he said quietly. "The laughter, the humiliation, the nights I cried alone." A pause. "But you know what hurt the most?" He looked directly at Jason. "It wasn't what you did. It was that no one stopped you." The crowd went completely silent. Some people lowered their heads. Some felt guilt. Some felt fear. Ethan continued. "You all watched. You all laughed. And that's how monsters are made." Jason clenched his fists. "I said I'm sorry," he shouted, trying to regain control. But Ethan didn't react. Not even a little. Instead, he smiled. Not a kind smile. A powerful one. I don't need your apology. Ethan's voice was calm, but it carried weight. Because I already won. The words hit harder than any revenge. Ethan turned toward the audience again. People think revenge is about hurting others. He shook his head slowly. No, real revenge is becoming so powerful that their existence no longer matters. The room erupted into silence again. Even Jason had nothing to say. Ethan walked off the stage, but the story didn't end there. A few weeks later, Jason lost his job. Not because Ethan destroyed him, but because Jason destroyed himself. The same attitude, the same arrogance, the same mindset. And Ethan? He kept rising. Higher, stronger, untouchable. One evening, Ethan received a message. It was from Jason. I understand now. I created my own downfall, and you created your own success. Ethan read the message, then deleted it. Not out of anger, but because he had moved on. He stood by the window of his penthouse, looking at the city lights. A quiet smile appeared on his face. They didn't break me. They built me. Ending message. Sometimes, people hurt you, break you, destroy your confidence.
Subscribe.